Hi and welcome back. We're on section 2 fast track and we're talking about the roadmap, and now this video is going to be all about step 1, acquisition. And by acquisition, I'm talking about client generation, getting those first prospects to raise their hands to tell you that they're interested. So we're going to be looking at some methods for doing exactly that. And then moving on into the relationship with that prospect as we go. I want to make it fairly clear right now that these client generation techniques that we're going to be talking about in this step are not the advanced systems that we're going to be looking at a little bit later in the program. That's not what these are. These are quick ones. These are what we call relationship client generation methods, really to get you out there, to get you started. And just to remind you, these are the ones we're going to be looking at: networking, the Business Network 100, affinities, referrals, personal networking. These are all systems that you can do right now with what you've already got. And as I say, designed to get you out there, get you working, get you in front of people, get you some quick wins. So let's kick it off with networking. Now, I should add, by the way, if you haven't done so already, then make it your business to pause the video right now just to download the Fast Track Relationship Client Generation Guide. It's in there in the resource section. So if you haven't done it, do it now. Pause the video. Okay, I'm assuming that you've done that. So the very first system that we want to look at, and it is a system, they're all systems that we want to look at in this step 1, is networking. That is you getting out there and getting into networking groups. If you've been in the sales, marketing, or business arena for a while, you'll be aware of networking groups. And even if you haven't, I'm sure you know about them. Of course, there's the really old ones that have been around forever and a day, the chambers of commerce, of course. But from those, and in recent times, we've seen a flood of professional referral network groups starting up. And I'm talking about the likes of BNI, Business Network Institute, BRE, Business Referral Exchange, and a host, and I do mean a host of other ones. Many of these are franchises being run by someone that where it's their own business but working under the auspices and the branding of a larger company such as BNI. These are tremendously powerful groups to get involved with because they have an obligation. All the members in these groups have an obligation to help each other. And I should add, of course, that by you joining one of these groups, you are also under the same obligation to help them. The marvelous thing about this is that I can tell you that several of our my past students and proteges have done extremely well in leveraging these groups, and have met people there that they have worked with, have got involved in, have gained equity in their company, and a couple of them have gone on to become very wealthy indeed as a result of the introductions they've gained. So a bit of deal making in there too. Now, you can easily find these networking groups in your area simply by going onto Google and typing in networking groups in and put your town in, and or your area, region, whatever, and bang, up they'll come, a whole load of them. As I say, one of the most popular ones is BNI, but there are many others as well. There's even this new phenomena, and I call it a phenomena because it is, of speed networking, a bit like speed dating. Frankly, folks, I've got no idea about about how that would work and how good it would be, but hey, give it a go. So have a look to join one or two within your neighborhood, say within sort of 15 miles, 20 kilometers, and check them out. couple of things you need to know. They only allow one member of every profession, and that means there's no competition, therefore. However, if there's already somebody that calls themselves a consultant or a coach in there, they'll probably block your membership. But don't be distracted or disheartened by that, because many of these groups have lots of chapters. In other words, they have more than one group meeting. BNI, for instance, as soon as one of their groups gets big enough, or chapter as they call it, they split and form a new chapter. So there's always the opportunity to get involved in one of them. But because there's a glut of these on the market now, you shouldn't have any trouble getting into one or several of them. Remember also that people join these groups because they're looking for more business. And hey, isn't that what you're looking for right now? So these are the businesses that we help with. Many of the people that go there, they're going to be small 1- and 2-man bands. However, there are some larger groups as well. Do not be put off by that. The important thing to remember is who they can introduce you to. And so get yourself along to them. It can be some very quick introductions for you. It gets you involved in the local business community. Same with the chambers of commerce. It'll also get you used to using some presentation skills, because you'll be getting up and providing a 60-second presentation of who you are and what you're looking for each and every week. Now, that's going to be important, because later on we're going to be talking about running seminars in the advanced systems, running seminars and or doing public speaking. Now, don't worry if you've never done that before. There's a lot of hand-holding that we do here. So there we go. Networking groups, lots to be gained by going along to them. A tremendous into your local business community, a way of getting yourself known, if nothing else. But it won't be nothing else. There is an obligation for them to introduce you to the kind of prospects and clients that you want. Number 2, Business Network 100. Again, if you would, take a moment out, if you haven't done so already, and download the Fast Track Business Network 100. There's a picture of it over to the right on your screen. Now, this is an exercise for you to do. Yep, you've got to do a bit of work here. And what I want you to do is, after you've downloaded that guide and after you've listened to this video, is sit down and do the exercise. And the exercise is purely this. Write down 100 people that you know that could either be influential in assisting you and introducing you to people that could be interested in your services, or people that could that you know directly that could be involved, could be interested in using your services. Now, I want to repeat, I said this earlier, that this isn't network marketing. We're not out to sell to all our family, friends, and relatives. We're not. It's not Amway. What we're doing here is something that's very professional, and it's something that many businesses and business people do when they first get going, and that is they put this list together of people that they feel could help them, or indeed that could be interested in what it is that they do. So it's a list of potential prospects and clients and what we call centers of influence. This is simple to do. Just after you've opened that guide, have a look at it. It talks about the purpose and the actions that you need to take. Really think about the services, think about what we do, who could need them, why might they need them, where do you find them, what business are they in, and put these 100 names together. There's also in the guide a prompter. And I've got to say that I've kind of had this prompter around for a long, long time. And people have always been complimentary about it because it makes you think about people that perhaps you haven't thought about for a long time. People that you're going to get a lot of ahas with because you're going to know that they could need some help and assistance. So this is a very quick route to market for you. But you must sit down and fill in the guide. We're going to talk about what you do next with all of this a little bit later on. So there you go, Business Network 100. Do it and do it well. Number 3 is affinities. Let me say right off that if you can get this right, you need never do anything else. But in these early days, don't count on it because it takes a little bit of setting up, as you'll see. But affinities really is all about getting professionals on board to work with, or for them to work with you. And I'm talking about accountants, corporate lawyers, possibly financial advisors, the ones that advise fairly wealthy individuals or business people, and perhaps bank managers as well. Although bank managers we have to be careful with, or they have to be careful, because they can only refer you indirectly. And by that, I mean that they'll say to you, yeah, happy to promote you and talk to some business owners that I know who are struggling or could do with help. But I'll get back to you. And what I mean by that is that they can't reveal who those people are without first talking to them, telling them about you and asking whether they want such a referral. There's all these ethics involved, as you would expect. So it's a little bit different with some of the others, though. In particular, I think that the ones that we really have to concentrate on, and these are the ones where we've had the most success, are accountants. Because accountants have got a special relationship like nobody else, other than perhaps a GP, a doctor. It's that kind of relationship where they can phone you up just like a doctor and say, Joe, Mary, whatever, I need to see you at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And with very little sort of questioning, you're going to be around there because what's going on? What's the problem? What's the issue? Is it something I need to be concerned about? So you're going to be there. And so what we want to do is work with them to take advantage of that special relationship, because it means that they're in a position to be able to recommend you to their clients. They can pick up the phone and say, George or Anne, whatever, I'm sitting with Fred Bloggs. Now, Fred is an absolute expert at helping businesses to develop and grow. And I really think that you should have a chat to him about what he can do to help you in your business. So what I'm going to do, with your permission, is give him your number and he'll call you. Or better still, where he tells the client to call you instead. So that's the kind of relationship that they've got, and that's what we want to take advantage of. So ask yourself this: who do you know that is an accountant or perhaps a corporate lawyer that can help you in this way? What accounts do you have relationships with yourself right now? And how do you feel you could approach them in order to put these ideas to them that you can help their clients? By the way, there's a couple of other ways to kill the cat here. Many accountants will occasionally hint, a lot of them won't ask outright, but it's there, that they'll want perhaps a percentage. So be prepared to negotiate probably no more than about 20% of your fee, your fixed fee, as a kind of a kickback. Others, if you suggest that, will get quite offended. So, tread with care there. But add to that list, add to that Business 100, who you know, who's an accountant or perhaps a corporate lawyer that could introduce you to business owners that are either struggling, flatlining, or are not growing as quickly as they would like. Number 4, referrals. And what can I say about referrals that probably you don't already know? Well, I can probably tell you this, and there's a little quote, and you'll see it in the Personal Client Generation Guide from a guy called Ray Lipinski, and he says in his book, 90% of all business comes as the result of referrals. This is especially true of those who offer a service. That's us. You can't ignore, he says, a marketing technique that brings in as much as 90% of your business. And he's absolutely right. This kind of thing, or word of mouth advertising, but we're going to make it a lot more proactive than that, is incredibly powerful. And indeed, I've been involved in a lot of service businesses in my life. And always, 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 the most powerful way to get clients is through referrals. Now, you might be asking, well, that's all very well, but don't you need clients to get referrals? Well, yes, that might normally be true, but you've got the power of your business network 100. And so, again, just referring back to that, you want to identify people who are in a position of influence that can then talk to other people or refer you to other people on your behalf. But of course, when you do have clients, referrals is even simpler then, because these are people that have tried what you've done. They know you, they trust you, they like you, they have confidence in you, they believe you, and therefore it's easier to get referrals. Notwithstanding that, the people that you're going to identify in your Business 100 as centers of influence also should be feeling that way about you. They know you, they like you, they trust you, have confidence in you, believe you, all of that, and therefore are great to approach and ask for some help. Now, I can remember quite a few times in my life where somebody has approached me and asked me for help. They said, look, David, I'm doing this, whatever it is. I wonder, could you help me? Who do you know that could? And as somebody that is being asked for help, it's not that you feel obligated, but you feel kind of good about helping somebody, about doing something for someone that you know, like, and trust. So do not underestimate the power of that relationship that you have, and therefore go looking for the referrals. Go ask. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. The very worst that anybody is ever going to say to you is no. And that's highly unlikely if they're on your Business Network 100. So do it now. Finally, personal networking. Now, anybody that's in business, and I mean anybody in any kind of business, ought to be a great networker. And what do we mean by networker in this context? Because we've been talking about networking all along here, haven't we? But as I said, this whole step is all about personal relationships, about who you know. But this bit is about who you don't know but could get to know. And it's really about observational marketing. It's about being there. It's about meeting people. And as you meet people, be sure that you engage them in conversation. Now, you don't want to look like some of these vultures that you'll meet at some of these meetings that jump upon anybody they see and straight away are in their face trying to sell to them. That's not where we're at. We're very social, laid back. And you're going to learn when we get onto positioning, when we get onto it in earnest. We're going to talk a little bit about it very soon, but on the main part of the course, when we get onto positioning, it's about getting people to come to you. Now, in doing that, there's a number of things that you can you can put in place to create the situation where people will come to you, and we'll get onto that. But just for now, what you want to be doing is handing out your business card to people so that they understand who you are, what you do, and you'll find on page 9 of the client generation guide a whole list of ideas that you can do in order to get yourself out there, meeting people, but also getting them to know what you do. And you never know what's around the corner. You never know when somebody's going to say to you, no, that's interesting, because that's just what I need right now. Remember as well that there's a handy little elevator pitch, as it's called, that I introduced in the free video series. And indeed, you can see that same pitch reprinted on page 9 of the client generation guide. It's right at the bottom of that list that I told you should study when carrying out personal networking. And it's an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch, as the name suggests, is an American invention, or American in origins. And it's where you make a statement that poses a problem or a challenge that people have that's fairly well known, and then how you solve that challenge or issue. And typically, somebody might say to you, well, what do you do? And you say to them, well, you know how hard it is to conduct business and make money in these difficult economic times? And they nod or say yes. And you go on to say, well, if there were methods available to not only survive but thrive, regardless of the state of the economy, would you want to know about them? What can they say to that? They can only say yes, unless you're pitching totally the wrong person. So it's a great way of introducing your services and what you do and getting people to ask you more about how you can help them and what you can do. So personal networking, again, something that you need to be very aware of, and indeed something from this day forward that you must practice, because now you really can solve their challenges. Okay, so there you go. We've looked at relationship client generation, networking, the Business Network 100. Make sure you do that next. Download it, fill the names in. Affinities, who do you know that's an accountant? Who can refer clients to you that way? And referrals. So looking at your Business Network 100, who is a center of influence? Who can refer you to others? And personal networking, where you are really getting involved with people at every opportunity without being, of course, obnoxious or in your face or any of that, because that's not what we're about. It's not what you're about. Right. So next up, we've got step 2, which is position. See you then.